The analysis phase allows us to really hone in on the core business challenges, performance gaps, and learner needs. It's going to allow us to align ourselves with the organizational priorities and the learner realities. Now, we've already input data during our project setup phase, which has resulted in an AI-generated project information document. We're going to use this L&D department reviewed and stakeholder approved document as our input. Next, we're going to be providing additional information about the problem definition, urgency, performance gaps, audience profile, and strategic alignment in our analysis form. Now here again, that data that you put into that form can just be clear and easy to understand notes, and that's because N8N is going to pull your form data and the project information document and generate a well-written and templated analysis document. In Notion, you'll have the ability to review this document, make any changes that you need before triggering an email for stakeholder approval. At the end of this phase, we're going to have an analysis document inside of Notion that summarizes the business challenge, urgency, gaps, learner profile, and alignment. With this overview completed, let's take a look at some of this AI automation magic in action. In our last step, we created a Notion workspace and a project details page that has all of the information that we've already sent over for stakeholder approval. This is a really important document as this is one of the inputs in our next step in creating an analysis document. This analysis document is going to show up right here in this list. We also have another optional input for our AI that is the content and definitions document. This document is created by the automation for you to fill out any additional information that is outside the scope of these official project documents that we're creating, but is needed to give some context to the AI. For instance, let's say that in your training, you're teaching employees to work with a proprietary system called the ETD, or the Employee Tracker Database. This page would allow you to add the definition of the system to provide the AI context, which would result in better decision making without adding bulk to your official documents that you're going to be using for stakeholder approvals. With an approved project details information document and a filled out context and definition page that we have here, we can start our workflow for creating an analysis document. To do that, we're going to go over to our project workspace, and under our properties here, we're going to click on Create Analysis Document. If we click on that, it's going to bring up a new no-code DB form for us to fill out. Like the project setup form, this analysis form will give you all the information you need to gather for your analysis document with questions and drop downs. You can see that the Notion project ID is auto-filled here, and that's so that this analysis document, when generated, it will be connected to this project. So I've gone ahead and filled out this form about our target group, and that's going to provide the AI with all of the information needed to generate our analysis document. I wanted to quickly go through so you can see the information that we're gathering in this form. The first one is the business problem and challenge, urgency and relevance, contributing factors, strategic alignment, performance gap statement, critical areas of focus, learner responsibilities and roles, existing knowledge and experience level, learner motivators, and audience characteristic summary. So after filling out all of this information, I'm going to go ahead and click Submit. And just as a reminder, if you have any questions about any of those drop-down boxes and the terms that are in those boxes, then you can go over here and click the Workflow Terms and Definitions, which is going to take you to the Bookstack page that has all of the definitions that are used for this workflow right here. But this is not the original source of that. If you remember, this is a reflection of a database that's inside of NoCodeDB. That one database inside of NoCodeDB fills this page, and if you wanted to update, then you just click this link and it will version up this document to all of the latest terms. That one database inside of NoCodeDB is also the source that is feeding the vector database that the AI is using to be able to make informed decisions throughout this workflow. So we went over that in the last step. I just wanted to remind you of the connection of these terms and how your team can interact with it and how the AI interacts with it as well. Now that I've clicked that submit button, the automation process has already started. So let's go over to Notion and see that in real time. Now that we're in Notion, let's go ahead and scroll down here to our analysis section of our project workspace. And as the workflow is going, you can see that a document has been created. And if we click on that, it's pre-filled some of our links that we're going to need up here for versioning up and moving forward with the next step in this workflow and creating a design document. Then we'll be going over those in just a second. And you can see that we have our analysis document that has been created for us here. So it has all of those sections that we talked about: the problem and challenge definition, organizational content and alignment, performance and learning needs, audience analysis, and there we have the feedback and suggestions that the AI has given us to help improve our document. So you can look through this and make any kind of changes that you need to. And then once you're ready, go over here and click on the Create Email Draft link. And that is going to bring up your email client and create for you an email draft of your analysis document. So you can see that here. It has the full content of our analysis document that you see inside of Notion, and it's given it a name, ready for you to send off for stakeholder approval. Now, let's say that you've created this analysis document, but you mistakenly put in some information that shouldn't be there, or you left out some information. That's okay. You can actually update this current document with the updated changes. And to do that, you go over here to this link, this update version. If you click on that, then you're going to be taken to NoCodeDB. This is the record that you created when you filled out the form. So you can go through, these are your original inputs, so you could make any kind of change that you want to this, and then you can save a new version. So let's go ahead and just make one change there, save the record, and then you can see here in the revision history that it's keeping track of any changes that you make here. So you have a history of that. And if you wanted to update this now that you've made the changes, then you would just click on this button right here, Update. Now that we're inside of Notion, you can see that the automation is going through and keeping this original record, because this is a version 1 and we set it to update the version. So it's going to go through and delete our original, and then it's going to regenerate the analysis document with our changes that we've made to the original source record in NoCodeDB. There are times, however, where you don't want to just update your current document and regenerate it, but you would rather just version up. And to do that, you click on the same link here. That's going to bring it up in NoCodeDB, your original record. But instead of clicking on the update button, you're going to click on the version up button. So let's go ahead and do that now. So with that clicked, let's go over to Notion and click on our project here, and let's go down. It's already created for us a version 2 right there, and it's going through the process of creating all of our links, and then based on our form data, creating for us a new version of our analysis document. So now in here we have a version 1 and we have a version 2 document right there. With our analysis document created, we can now go to our next ADDIE automation workflow phase, and that is to create our design document.